is Mary of the Anchorage Memories Club.
And this is Mike. In this edition of the Anchorage Memories Club, we're looking at Anchorage Denali Elementary memories. Where did you attend elementary school? You and, well, most of us remember where we attended the first grade. Mary and I have a unique memory. Both of us began our educations as first graders in Anchorage's Denali Elementary School. We didn't attend at the same time. I began some years ahead of Mary, and after the first grade, our family moved to the Mountain View area of Anchorage, where I attended Mountain View Elementary.
Fire trucks and ice skates at Denali Elementary? I was in the third grade in 1960. I was so excited on that dark, cold, crisp morning as my classmates and I stood in the playground watching the firemen. They were filling the previously prepared ice skating rink with water from the fire truck's hoses. Finally, the day came when we could ice skate. It was very cold. However, I was wearing my mittens and scarf, and after skating several times around the rink, I warmed up. I started ice skating at the age of 4. I was the youngest of 8, and ice skating was a sport my mother wanted her children to do. So I was an experienced skater and helped my classmates who had never skated before. I felt a deep sense of pride helping them. As spring came, the ice skating rink melted, and we hung up our skates. At recess time, my friends and I grabbed jump ropes and ran around in our sneakers, having loads of fun. I went to Denali Elementary School from first grade through the 6th, walking from 2nd Avenue to 9th Avenue with my family and friends. Denali Elementary School was damaged in the 1964 Alaska earthquake, and all the students had to finish out the school year at Mountain View Elementary. That was the first time I rode in a school bus. We were the second shift that started around noon. I was truly thankful for the firemen and their bright red fire trucks for coming back year after year to make us a really cool ice skating rink.
Here are what my first days looked like at Denali in the 1950s. We lived on Fairbanks Street, just a couple of blocks from Denali. On my first day, Mom walked me to school. My teacher's name was Mrs. Rosh. She was a very nice lady. While at school, I discovered that those leather-looking airplane pilot caps were the cool thing for boys to wear to school. A little too cool in Alaska's colder months. The hat was actually a dumb-looking skull cap with snaps to hold your goggles in place should the wearer happen to run into bug-infested skies on his way to school. Mom and Dad bought me the hat but declined the goggles. I proudly wore my hat to Denali. My taste in hats aside, I was off on a great adventure. The first grade in Anchorage, Alaska is where I was introduced to fun with Dick and Jane, Sally, Puff, and Spot. Those 5 characters, along with Mrs. Rosh, would teach me how to read and write. So I guess I have them to thank for the Anchorage Memories Club.
Fun lunchboxes. Back then, Denali didn't have a lunchroom, so we brought our lunches from home in brown paper bags or lunchboxes. Girls often had Dale Evans, Tinkerbell, or Alice in Wonderland lunchboxes.
The boys featured Roy Rogers, Peter Pan, or Superman. For the record, I was a Superman lunchbox guy. After lunch and a last gulp of hot chocolate, we headed for the playground. Of course, we had oodles of fun on the swings, slide, and merry-go-round, plus we met kids from other classrooms. One of the other kids, Bobby Callender, would become my brother-in-law around 15 years later. It's interesting that my mother happened to be taking a photo of all of us lining up to go back into the school one day. About 14 years later, Mary was looking at the picture and said, "Hey, Mike is standing right behind my brother Bobby." And there I was. It's interesting, though, I didn't actually know her brother. I just happened to be standing there. What elementary school did you attend? If you lived in Anchorage, you might have attended one of the following: Mountain View Elementary, which was first opened in 1956, Northern Lights Elementary, first opened in 1959, and Ptarmigan Elementary, first opened in 1967. And by the way, if you don't know, a ptarmigan is an Alaskan bird. It's pronounced ptarmigan, but it's spelled Ptarmigan. And only a Chichaco would say ptarmigan.
And if your parent was in the Air Force or Army in Anchorage and serving at Elmendorf Air Force Base or Fort Richardson, you may have attended elementary school on one of those military bases. We thank your parents for their service.
Okay, what elementary school did you attend in Anchorage? And what are your memories? It's been a few years now since we were all in elementary school, but it's fun to remember those times we shared as we began our academic careers. And as Sherlock Holmes says, elementary, Watson. Until next time, Mike and Mary, the Anchorage Memories Club.